Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
Joel Embiid somehow is not starting in the All-Star game after that. How in the world can you watch basketball and honestly see a spot where Joel Embiid doesn't start in the All-Star game? It's laughable. Shove that Vorp right up your ass if you watch basketball and you watch Jokic and you watch through the lens of Vorp. Shove it right up the keister, because 47 points, 18 boards, dishing the rock around. Joel Embiid showed his dominance. Somehow, he is number 2 in MVP rating when it comes to Vegas, and he leads the league in scoring, and he's not going to start in the All-Star game. It's so laughable, but damn it, this dude is hungry. Damn it, this dude knows that everybody hates him, and he's using it to his advantage to motivate him. Holy hell, is this guy special? You know, it's funny because Jokic a couple times in the early beginning stages of this game, you know how Joel likes to shoot off the dribble with the mid-range, and he swiped it a couple times. It's like, it seems like he kind of got him. He's figuring something out here early. And then, man, oh, man, when Doc Rivers made the switch, P.J. Tucker, fantastic, beautiful defense. That fourth quarter, if I'm Jokic, I'm embarrassed. What the hell was that? That was trash. And I'm sorry. When you're going up against Embiid, when it's Embiid versus Jokic, that matters. And you look like a scrub in the second half. You looked so bad in the fourth quarter. It is what it is. While the other guy was a couple points away from a 50-burger. Man, he crossed you up and attacked the rim with a reverse slam in the third quarter. He hit the mid-range J in the second half. Do we want to talk about the three when the Wells Fargo Center loses its damn mind? That was unreal. I have to ask the question, should the Nuggets fire Michael Malone for giving up a big lead in the second half? Or is it just the nature of the game? I'm just saying. Go back to the 5-0 road trip that the Sixers just went on, and that final game against the Sacramento Kings. Without Joel Embiid and James Harden, they came back from a 21-point deficit. And by the way, Sacramento's 26-19. They're not some 11-12 win basketball team. My point is, every time Doc does it, it's like Doc's the only team to ever do it. No, the Sixers, down double digits, just said, who's your father and what's he do? And Joel Embiid showed why he's one of the best players on planet Earth. And I think that's the most upsetting thing about the Joker when it comes to all his fans. Somehow, analytically, this guy is the best player ever to ever dribble a basketball. I hate to break it to you. There's no fucking way in hell this guy should win MVP 3 straight seasons. He's not that good. He's not better than Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and some of the other greats. I don't understand the obsession with the guy. He's a fantastic talent. He's a great player. They make it seem like we should all be kneeling and going, yes, your master. Yes, your master. Whatever you want, whatever you need, I'm here for you. Come on. It's a joke. Embiid just dominated. And speaking of Doc Rivers, by the way, he deserves a lot of credit. I tried explaining this because there was a game where PJ was guarding a center. Why? What? Because that's what he does. If you know anything about PJ Tucker, go back and look at how he helped Miami. Go back and look at how he helped Milwaukee. Go back and look at his career. He does this. Don't be mad at Doc for using him on bigger guys. That's something that he's capable of doing. Now, he hasn't been playing well this season. But I referenced a Keith Pompey article that he wrote probably a couple months ago and said, you'll see his worth when the game is more important, when it becomes the postseason and it's time to rock. This is an example of why you're going to appreciate PJ Tucker. He is older and he's dealing with some nerve damage stuff and he's all banged up and all of it. And, you got to keep going. You got to keep pushing through it. You got to keep playing. So he is. It's limiting him in certain areas. You're going to love what he does when it's the playoffs because it's going to look very, very, very similar to this. Michael Malone didn't have the answer. He's a scrappy dude, man. He could change the game. That play changed the game. That decision, I should say, changed the game. Doc has this team second in the East. A 7-game win streak. They were 14-14 or 12-12 or something along that line. Now you look at the standings. They're 32-16. 32-16. 19-7 at home. 13-9 on the road. The only team above them in the Eastern Conference are the Boston Celtics, who are 35-15. By the way, this Nuggets team is now 34-16. It's impressive. James Harden, the playmaking. George Niang has been coming up with very big shots, especially late in games. Tyrese Maxey, going back to that Sacramento game, he had, 15 of his 32 points in the third quarter. He took over the game. But I thought Tobias on both ends of the floor against Denver was something to appreciate. I know we've seen this team a lot of the years win a lot of regular season games and then fall short in the postseason. I don't know where this goes, but I do know since the Joel Embiid era started, this is the most real it has looked. James Harden's ability to get everybody rolling, and then, of course, himself against Brooklyn. James Harden with 2 big threes late. And Ben Simmons is a -16, can't play the game late in the fourth quarter because he sucks. Then his coach calls him out the next game because he withdrew himself from the night against the Pistons. And the coach is like, this guy doesn't want to play. Basically, I'm paraphrasing, but he said there's some teammates out there that's willing to play in Philadelphia and willing to play against the Pistons, and others aren't. And others aren't prepared to play. The dude's a fraud. We honestly deserve an apology from the national media because we were told we were the problem. Maybe, just maybe, we recognize, because nothing fraudulent slips by us, that he wasn't ready to play the game. He wasn't bought in to play. He was the loser. That's what it is. He's the loser. The team can't even utilize him. But another good win by your Sixers. And I don't want to hear that. Well, they almost blew it late. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. The Nets made a run. Then the Sixers stars made their shots. Ding, 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 ding. Welcome to the NBA. The Nets made a run. The Sixers answered because James Harden, who is a star in this league, delivered in the clutch moments. I don't know about you, but that seems to be the key to a lot of team success in the postseason and in the NBA in general. This is the most real it feels. I don't know what that means. Boston might ultimately end up being better. And maybe they see each other in the Eastern Conference Finals and something happens and they don't end up going to the NBA Finals. This is far, far ahead, but, because a lot of it is it's championship or bust. I don't care if they don't win in the postseason. Well, they haven't been to the Eastern Conference Finals in so long. I don't know where they match up when it comes to Boston. I'm intrigued to find out. I'm excited to find out. I would love to see this team compete in a 7-game series against Boston. But I have a group chat that specifically goes off during these games. This team sucks. They're saying this about the Sixers. Have you been watching the last 2 months? Shut up. Shut the hell up. Are you even paying attention? What more can you ask for right now than the big man dominating the entire league? He's getting disrespected by the entire world once again. He's not even a starter in the All-Star game. That shouldn't even be allowed. It honestly should not even be allowed. If I'm the commissioner, I'm stepping in. The hell is this trash? Fan voting, whatever you need to start picking at. But he deserves to be there. The guy who leads the league in points scored? Unacceptable. But all this team does is win right now. They went on the road and won all 5. Coming home after a 5-game roadie and winning, it's not easy. There's 2 things particularly a little difficult in that situation. It's the last game of the road trip, and it's the first game back. Especially how highly emotional it was, too. I'll be honest, I thought I was over the Ben Simmons thing because I didn't think about it leading up to that game. Now, maybe my mind was with different priorities. The Eagles are getting ready for an NFC Championship game. But the moment I saw Embiid post up Ben Simmons, it all came right back to me. All those emotions started flowing with the snap of the fingers. I was ready to hate that guy like I never hated another man again. And it was great to see the Sixers get another dub. But they're clicking. DeAnthony Melton. What a huge pickup. Think about that trade. Think about what Daryl Morey did. Excellent. Excellent. That gave you the ability to utilize Tyrese Maxey in a different role. And that role is paying off dividends. It's changing what this team's identity is. It's changing everything. So I don't want to hear right now anything about the coach or anything about this team. Well, they're bad perimeter defensively. Their perimeter D is bad. You're right. I am at times afraid of a potential backcourt with Harden and Maxey. It's not ideal. But the other team, whoever you see, is going to have their version of that flaw. It might not be perimeter defense, but it might be something else. They're bad in another area. No team is perfect. No team has 0 holes. That might be the Sixers' hole. And maybe that does end up being what kills them at the end. But the other team has a flaw too. And you got to pick on that. And by the way, you have to stop Joel Embiid. You have to stop a 2-man game. The way him and James Harden are figuring each other out right now, in between the leg passes, James Harden is jumping on his back. I even saw fear when Shake Milton and George Niang were screaming at each other on the bench. Calm down, calm down. Just the heat of the moment thing. And they both laughed it off, apparently, and afterwards, Niang took some responsibility and said, I shouldn't do that to my teammate. They're competitors. I think that type of pissed off attitude, even though I didn't like it, is what makes George Niang George Niang. And George, talk about a guy who's playing extremely well. Last year, I have to imagine, probably a couple things. Matchups are always problematic in the postseason, and just knowing physically George Niang, maybe that was something to consider. But also health. Last year in the playoffs, it seemed like he was playing maybe at 70%. And he's not the type of player that can get by and squeeze by at 70. If this is the 100% George Niang, man, it's killer. It's wild what this team is capable of doing. And what I just watched Joel Embiid do to Jokic, man, was that entertaining. This city right now is on an all-time high. Phillies World Series, Eagles NFC Championship game, hosting it too, okay? Which definitely adds value. And now we're watching Joel and Harden and the Sixers play their best basketball that we've seen under the Joel Embiid era. There's been some really strong moments, don't get me wrong. And I actually think that big win streak, that might have been the year where Embiid was hurt and it was just Ben Simmons with a lot of spacing as they entered the postseason. I could be wrong, but I think I'm right. There's been some incredible times. It hasn't looked like this, though. This looks serious contender. I think we've been in contender mode. This looks more like the next jump. This looks like the next tier. And what helped was getting rid of that bum Ben Simmons. Because Ben Simmons isn't playing in crunch time. And he's crying and he's being a baby and he's yapping about he can't play. The coach of the Nets is disgusted in him, calling him out publicly. While the guy you got in return is cashing buckets against that same team. Hitting threes. Double-digit assists. I swear every night, 13 assists, 14 assists, 11 assists. Want me to mix in 28 points? I guess. All right. Ho-hum. I'll do what I need to. Embiid also had 2 blocks and 3 steals. Just wanted to make sure I pointed that out. All right, this is going to be more of just a quick hit because I'm definitely in Eagles mode, but this afternoon was just a joy. And to see that building go crazy towards the end and to see Embiid expose the fraud, the joker that he is, I can't wrap my head around how there's so many numbers that claim that this guy is seriously the best athlete ever born. Ever born. He's a great basketball player. Embiid's better, but he's a great basketball player. Why is this so difficult? Why with him? Oh, his true shooting number. Yeah. I don't give a damn. I'll give you a true shooting. Lost to the Sixers. His true shooting tonight was not good enough. His VORP, once again, should be up your ass. Who the hell watches basketball and goes, man, that VORP, whew, yeah? Loser. Losers! Losers! Because I see 47 and I go, that guy's better. and I'm at the point now where I'm already convinced it's never going to happen. He'll never get the respect. So the more and more you can pile on, the more and more you can piss him off, keep it going. Keep it going. Because he responds to it. He eats it up. He embraces it. I would like for him to get the respect. Trust me, I would. But there's something about the way that he goes about business right now because he's aware that the entire world is out to get him. Well, hey, keep doing your thing, dude. Keep doing your thing. Because here in Philly, we're loving every second. Thank you guys so much. I'll catch you guys all on the next one. Go Birds. Big one tomorrow.